Yeah, let's do some shooting. And there she is. Feels very well made. 5 shots in 2 seconds at 3, 5, 7, and 10 yard. Somebody is gonna win a Traeger right now. Oh God, this gun! I want to just throw it. One in the chamber. How about that? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Concealed Carry channel. I'm Grant McLean. Today we have part 2 for the LWRC SMG45. We're going to talk about my time at the range with it. We're going to break this down a little bit more in-depth detail as far as fit, finishes, pros, cons, things like that. I really want to make sure that you have the best education that you can get on whether or not this is going to be a good firearm for you to own. That's the goal in this. Before we jump into things, I want to say thanks so much to our Patron supporters. You guys keep this channel going. If you want to be a Patron supporter, go into the description below. We love the support, and that'll take you to our Patreon page. The other people I want to say thank you so much to is NW Armory. Northwest Armory has been awesome to us, so if you need to get anything, go to nwarmory.com or pop in their store, tell them that Grant sent you. They'll take care of you very, very well. And X-Hunt targets, which you're about to see on the channel here. They're awesome reactive targets that they make for the channel. So anyways, xhunttargets.com if you want to get any of those. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the range portion of this review. Now, when I go to the range with guns like this, that I think a lot of people are going to be shooting with a red dot, I have my little Romeo 5. This is what I kind of toss on to guns that I'm just going to be sighting in for a short purpose. That's the one that I used on this. It does come from the factory with Magpul Pro iron sights, which is pretty dang cool. But I think majority of people that are going to be owning this gun are going to use a red dot, so that's what I put on there. Sighted it in. There is people, and actually apparently quite a few people, who have had issues with these guns being inherently inaccurate. Now, I'm not going to go super into that. I didn't do some 1,000-round review or anything like that. Videos out there already exist. You can quickly go into Google and type in LWRC SMG45 inaccuracy issues or accuracy issues. You'll find videos. You'll find them on blogs. You'll find people that own them. Maybe, this is a pre-owned gun. Maybe that is what the issue was with this. Of course, I didn't know till I went to the range, and I agree. I think that is the issue. Grantham does a great review and video on this gun and the accuracy issues, so check that out. You're probably a fan of his already if you're a fan of mine, so he does great stuff. But anyways, let's talk about this. I usually do 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards, but being that this is capable of, going out further, I did 5, 10, 15, and 20 yards. Now, I sighted this in at 15 yards with the red dot, so some of these I should have actually had a little bit of a holdover on, but that's okay. The groupings is primarily what I'm looking at, and this is just sighting it in. Like I said, I don't do a 1,000-round review on this, but this was my experience from just sighting it in and then going right into this. A 1.75-inch group at 5 yards. Smooth shooting gun. Easy to get back on target. I had one that I pulled over to the right, and I could actually tell during that time. Kind of pulled that one. 10 yards. 1.9-inch group. I mean, this is definitely going to be ringing some steel. No issues there. When I was sighting it in, I found that after 10 yards, 10 yards was a fairly good group. At 15 yards, that's where I was having the challenge of sighting it in, and that's why I decided, okay, well, you know what? I want to sight it in at 15 yards, get as best as I can. And when I sighted this in from a rest, so like as sturdy as I could get the gun at the range, it was still kind of spotty. Now, being standing, no rest or anything like that, our goal is 5 shots in 2 seconds if you've never seen this before, but you can see here it's a 3.4-inch group. This, as far as center mass, is not bad at all, but I was a little disappointed being that I've taken handguns and shot better than this versus this gun. So here you have a 3.4-inch group. Now, the 20 yards, this is 60 feet out. This is where things really spread out. And this is not a surprise to me. When I saw this, I was like, oh, yeah, of course. Well, and I say that because when I was sighting it in on arrest, they were just all over the place. In my opinion, no rhyme, no reason. I mean, there was not a good, tight group, even at 20 yards, with this. So, with my findings, when it came to this, you're still gonna be, on a silhouette at 20 yards, hitting steel plates. I do believe that. But taking into consideration, heavy breathing, whatever type of drill it is that you're doing, because the range is not somewhere where you're, going to be doing 15, 20 burpees and then grabbing your gun and plugging, bullets down range, which would be awesome if you could, to really set that precedence for, your heart's going to be pounding and things are going to be happening and stuff like that. Just not that type of place that you do it. So I was kind of back and forth. Yes, is this going to be hitting a silhouette? But with that type of stressful situation, is this group more than likely going to be bigger? Yeah, probably. And do I personally find that to be acceptable? No. Your story may be different. So, for me, just being candid with you guys, I wouldn't choose to buy this gun based off of that performance. Now, however, the inaccuracy issues, what I've heard, not what I've seen, because these guns are super hard to get, and, it's not just like people go, oh yeah, here, go ahead, take it out shooting all you want. The newer generations of these, what we're going to find most recently, and today is, let's see here, 5, 16, 20, 22. You're probably going to have the newer generations if you actually found one new in store, versus this, I believe, was purchased when they very first came out. So that's something to keep in mind, is the older generations, if you're buying it pre-owned, you probably want to do a little more research into the serial numbers of which ones are going to be older versus what's going to be newer. Because I haven't heard that the newer ones having these inaccuracy issues. Okay? But for me, this specific gun, pass. I'd rather, put my money into something else, unless I was able to find one of the new generations and it just totally blew my mind as far as accuracy goes. Because it's a $3,000 gun, right? It can't just be fit finish. It better be accuracy too. And of course, a lot of this has to do with shooters, but I think that there's enough proof out there of people who do shoot well going, the gun's just not holding as, it's not running tight groups. I'm running a good optic. I'm running it on a bench, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I'm just kind of going on. Let's go ahead and take a look at this gun, and we'll start from the barrel down to the brace here and kind of go over some pros and cons and things that I would say you need to consider if you're looking at buying this. So what we have here is we have an 8.5-inch threaded barrel, perfect for a suppressor host. You have a proprietary rail system to LWRC. This is not M-LOK. Fortunately, it does come with a hand stop, and it does come with some rail panels, and you can get more of these from LWRC, but they actually have little threads into the rail itself, which is pretty darn cool. So you can add some accessories to it, but you just need to get it from it, and they fit very well on the gun. It's like they were made for it, so perfect. This rail system actually is part of the upper, so it's a monolithic upper, which if you've ever dealt with LMT, they have this cool monolithic upper piece where it's not a lower receiver, upper receiver, then the rail. This is actually all one piece. So it's very, very sturdy. On the top here, you have your pick rail, and they've outfitted it with some very tasteful Magpul Pro sights on the top there. Over on the left side, you have your charging handle, which is pretty sweet. I like it. It has this, flips out a little bit, so that way you get a little bit more positive grip on there, and there's some serrations here too. And the serrations aren't so gnarly that if you're shooting with bare hands, it's gonna, get your hands all torn up. Other than that, we'll kind of move back here to the controls. So you have ambi controls, got your bolt release, bolt catch, safety. And then your mag release is going to be down here on the bottom, so this is, accessible from either side, right? Also, ambi safety, bolt release, bolt hold open, bolt lock, whatever you want to call it, right there too. Okay. Here we go. Beautiful. And then boom, got your mag release right there. Underneath here, you have the LWRC branded trigger guard. It's a little bit wider than you'd find on most, which is fine with me. It's comfortable, and it's got a little bit more opening to it. That way, if you're shooting with gloves, you're not going to have any issues getting your fingers in there, especially if you got sausage fingers, you know what I mean? Let's go ahead and jump into the trigger real quick. Scoot to the side here, that way you can see. So this is, again, a very familiar feel as far as an AR-15 goes. Okay, it's about a 3.5 to 4 pound trigger. The reset is nice, crisp, very positive. So they do a really good job with these triggers. I like them a lot. I don't feel that you're going to be, immediately wanting to swap that out, if at all. It's a great feeling trigger. The reset's nice. It's smooth, has a nice crisp break to it. There's no complaints there as far as that goes. The grip is nice. It's got that rubber grip with kind of the like the scales to it. I do like I like all the LWRC grips from the factory myself. Some people, if you don't want to have the rubber on there, you can take this off and you can put any other AR grip on there, which is totally cool. Back here, you have a folding SB Tactical brace. Same brace you're going to find on a lot of CZs and B&Ts. Locks up nice and sturdy. This is actually one of my favorite braces that is available from SB Tactical. So, yeah, it's a nice gun. It feels really good. The fit, the finish, the coating, the things that it comes with already from the factory. I mean, realistically, all you have to do is just throw on a little red dot and you're pretty much ready to rock and roll when it comes to this gun. The only hang up for me was the accuracy issues from it. And like I said, I'm no professional shooter. I'm a good shooter. And when I was at the range, I had other folks who were also good shooters. And kind of we came to the same conclusion of like, hey, you know what? It can't be all of us shooting from a rest, getting these big groups. And we shot it with the iron sight and both the red dot, just to confirm, is there something wrong with the red dot? No, they were just kind of spraying all over. It is what it was. And, that would be my only hang up. Now, if you can get over that yourself, well, then, hey, cool. You could go with an older release of this. You could go with the newer release. Personally, I'd love to get my hands on one of the newer releases and see if they've really fixed that, and then run this thing suppressed, and that would make for an awesome home defense gun, truck gun, backpack gun, being that you can fold this thing down and it's just over 15 inches long with that brace folded. And down here, you'll see on the bottom of the grip, you have a little storage compartment there for some tools. You could probably put a little battery there if you're running an optic that runs a battery like that. Pretty straightforward as far as that goes. It's got quite a few upgrades already just on it, and like I said, I feel like if you have a suppressor, this will be a great host for that. And then also just grab your favorite red dot, toss it on there, and you're ready to rock and roll. Anyways, you guys, I hope that what I went through with the gun was something that helped you make a better educated decision on whether or not this is going to be a good fit for you. I like LWRC. I just, this gun I would pass on myself. But for those of you who are like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to shoot this thing out, more than 20 yards, and that type of accuracy is acceptable to me because I think you would be hitting steel plates and stuff like that anyways. But for those of you, I think it's awesome. It's a great gun in that regard. For those of you who need to have more accuracy, better groups than this, I would say try to find one of the newer generations of this. Of course, do your research and due diligence, because I haven't been able to get my hands on one, and I only believe it if I see it personally. So That's kind of my feedback on it. But other than that, you guys, make sure to check out nwrarmory.com if you need anything. Folks at Northwest Armory are awesome. Check out our Patreon page. That's in the description below. And, of course, order up some of these awesome reactive targets from X-Hunt Targets. I think you'll be super happy with them, especially if you're somewhere where it's raining like we are. These are weather resistant. So, anyways, we'll see you next time here on the Concealed Carry channel. Thanks.
Ready when you are.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Boom, boom, boom. Gotta play everything like a drum on the table. Let's go. I need my target. I say. So it's kind of cool. It comes sorry. I'm at those. Let's restart that thing. Spending a good amount of money on ammo served you well.
Great. Can we get a thumbnail holding that gun up?
Sure.